What's going on, YouTube? This is Kevin. Welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before, my goal here on this channel is to always empower you to live what I call live, love, and be. And we do that through a whole host of things. So this video is all about one of our favorite shows. And I've got my beautiful wife, Tarsha, who is joining me for this to kind of talk about this. All right. So if this is content that you like, if this content is something that you would appreciate, definitely do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then if you want to be notified every time we're talking about this show, which is called
Ready to Love.
Ready to Love, which is on the OWN network. If you want content like this, if you want to see every time we're talking about it, we're going to do a recap and review. Hit that notification so you can be notified anytime it comes on. All right?
Yep.
So you ready to jump into it?
I am so ready. Now, when Ready to Love first came out and I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, so we finally got something with a lot of chocolate.
Yes.
So I can't wait, right? So the first 2 seasons was in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that it had a variety of people, different body types and sizes.
Yep.
And it was really original,
Yes.
I think, even though we're talking about the same thing about people finding love, right? And getting singles, but a little bit older,
Right.
a little bit wiser.
Not the 18, 19, 20-year-old, not
Correct.
MTV special, right?
Right. So, but it brought who we are as a culture, as a people. And so now that they're having season 3 in Houston, Texas, they don't do a lot of taping in Houston, so
yeah, I mean, it's like Atlanta is like the mecca for everybody, and then you got LA stuff going on.
Chicago,
you might throw Chicago, DC in there,
New York,
Dallas too, right?
Dallas, okay,
but Houston brings a little different flavor, and I think we'll see kind of that as they go through this season. So we've loved it from the beginning, and so we've figured like, hey, let's go ahead and let's do some recap reviews, kind of give our thoughts on it. Just
from a couple's perspective,
male and female, right? Yeah. We've been married over 20 years, almost 25. So we know a little something about love. We're not experts by any shape or but we got a little things to add, right?
Right.
So what I think makes this season a little interesting also is the fact that I'm a sports guy, right? So they had the NBA bubble where they kind of locked all the players in. Yeah. Couldn't come in, couldn't come out, and if you did, it was problems, right?
Right.
So they got a love bubble.
They have a love bubble.
Love bubble.
Yeah, in a resort where in the past you date, you went to work, you still have now they're really focused on finding love.
Right.
So
this is you have the blinders on. There's not even the chance of you meeting somebody else at the coffee shop, right? Right. You are focused. And if you don't know, it's 10 men, 10 women.
10 women.
And so their goal is to find love.
Yep. Right? So you may want to go ahead and jump in.
Yeah. So, all right. So the first episode was kind of like a casting special, right? Right. So it kind of let us see who the new people were.
Correct.
So it's some interesting characters. The first one that they brought up to us was Kalafani, right? And what stood out, he's a competitor. He's a professional bodybuilder.
Personal trainer.
Yeah.
He calls himself a motivational.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but how do you think that that's going to work? Because he's got the body, right? He's got the physique. One thing that he did say that stood out to me was like, okay, he's like, communication's a big thing. And I think that's going to be a big theme as we move through it.
But he's a competitor.
Yeah.
So where do we go from competing to finding love?
Right. Because is this a game show or is this really you trying to find love? Right. I mean, I think if we even look at some of the past seasons, there was one person, what was her name? Alexis, I think, last season. Who I thought she was more looking at on this show to be a competition and kind of seeing if she could stay on long enough.
Right.
So I'm concerned about him. Then you got Rashid, right?
Yeah.
Rashid's tall, bald head.
Yeah.
He's a divorced for 2 years. He was married for 2 years.
Gotcha.
Divorced for about 2 years now. He's got a son.
And so I guess it's just trying to see how, now that he says he's ready. Right. He took some time off. Then say, okay, I wanted to make sure my family was good. My son was good. Now I'm ready for love. Yeah. And see how that works, right? Yeah. Having kids and finding someone, it's about a balance. Now he can't bring his son around. Right. So he has to say, hey, can this person fit in my life?
Right. So. Right. And I think that's important. I mean, we've been married, for so long. And so we don't have that necessarily concern, but that is a concern that I know when we've talked with other couples, or other people that have been married and they've got a child and they want to, get married again, right? And then now Brian he's an educational consultant.
Oh, the education
consultant. He's got a lot of confidence, what have you.
Yes.
Got a 3-year-old daughter, but here's what you'll hear this if you watch the show. You'll hear him say, "I like him tall. I like him dark. I like him light. I like him short. I like him skinny. I like him."
Brian's gonna like all 10 women.
He like women. Now
he's gonna like all the women on the show.
And some folks will say, you ain't got no type. Well, here's the thing. I think that I appreciate what he says a little more.
Right.
From a man's perspective, because I think that what he's really trying to get at is that he appreciates a woman for who she is and what she brings to the table. And so he doesn't necessarily have a specific container that she has to fit in, that she has to be light-skinned, and she has to be under so many pounds and what have you.
So he's open. Like, he's like, hey, she's attractive, and she might happen to be attractive this time because, okay, she does have natural hair.
Right.
Or maybe she is short, but it's just something about her aura or her character.
And for men, I think, speaking from the man perspective, I think that really a lot of times when we're attracted to a woman, yes, the physical may catch our attention, but if you are, can I just be honest, you're not the most attractive physically, but if something about you is you're confident, there's a sexiness that comes with you, that it may not necessarily look as far as the physical eye package, but if everything else is there, brothers might give you a shot, right? Brothers might be like, okay, because, at the end of the day, let's be honest, I still got to wake up to you every morning, right? and after a while, the looks may fade.
Well, I think for him, then that gives him, he'll have more opportunities to connect.
Yes.
Out of most of the men.
Yeah.
So if he's open-minded, as he's saying, then he could probably find a connection. And we might need to put a star by him that he might be one of the last men standing.
He might be one of the all-stars. Yep.
So we'll see.
All right. So then we got Joy.
Yes.
Now, Joy was the one, she's been married before too.
Okay.
Now, Joy was the one who, after a week of being married.
Oh, yes. Called her pastor.
Called her pastor, was like, I made a mistake.
And made a mistake. So that's questioning right there about, like, what happened?
Right.
Like, did you go to marital counseling?
Right.
What did you not see that you end up seeing? So I think Joy sounds like she did a lot of growing.
Yes.
Afterwards, she spent some time, again, just trying to look after herself. And now she feels that she's at the place.
She's at the place right now.
Where she can move forward.
Yeah, as pastors.
Right.
Because we are pastors as well.
We are pastors.
So as pastors, I'm like, so how good was the marital counseling that it only took a week to kind of undo what should have come out in marital counseling?
I'm not judging. Depending on what you share in counseling.
True. How honest you are.
How honest you are.
Yes.
That depends on the couple, right? Because it's only counsel. I can only give you advice.
Exactly.
And you don't know what kind of advice they may have received. But the thing is...
Or applied.
Right. But again, she's ready for love. She's opening up.
Yeah. Now,
she made a comment that is kind of funny, though. She's like, first thing and foremost, he needs to be born again. But she says she has a very high libido. So I don't know how that'll balance out as we go along and ready for love.
And here's the thing, again, we're in a love bubble. They at a resort. So
hey, hopefully they made some plans like how they going to tackle this,
Preferably there's a chapel in the resort.
Well, maybe, I don't know if they know that they were going to be a resort, but if it was me, I probably would need to make some plans, some rules for myself.
Yes.
But let's go on because we got a lot of contestants.
Yeah, we got a lot of them. I think we're only like 4 or 5 in. Right. But we got Adriana, who is a former cheerleader, who's now a realtor.
Yes. Now she was a cheerleader for the Houston Texans. I don't know how many Texan fans we have, but how exciting! So she seems very spontaneous. She said she just like, I just tried on a whim.
Yeah.
And never did any formal cheerleading before. So she seems like the type of person that's really ready to really put herself out there.
I'm kind of interested to hear more from her simply because She mentioned that, people hear that she's a cheerleader, they think she's ditzy, they think she doesn't have it all upstairs. But she's like, look, I'm probably more intelligent than some of the guys that I talk to. So I'm interested to see how that all comes out and how that plays out, right?
Right, because I think when they cast, they picked very pretty, I would say, intelligent men that has a lot of substance, even though they have great looks.
Yeah.
So let's see how she does now that she's out, where she's in a bubble, where there's more intelligent men.
And more intelligent women alongside her, too.
Alongside her.
So there's competition there, yep.
So we'll see how she does.
Yeah. Now, this one...
Why are you sorry?
This one, Alicia.
Oh, yes, Miss Alicia.
Alicia has... One of the things you'll hear her say is that her eyes catch a man. That she can look at a man and she has those yeah. But she says this, and she says she's single only because men only want sex or they immediately want to marry her.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you have this abundance of men, why are you on a show saying that you're ready for love, looking for it? Because according to you, you have lots of choices.
Well, but she's saying what she's catching with her eyes only wants to either get her married or get her
then maybe
done.
She might need to close her eyes. If her eyes are that powerful and she's attracting the wrong stuff, she needs to close her eyes for a moment.
Right.
Walk around with sunglasses or something.
Sunglasses on. Just find the right one. Well, and you have to think about it, right? And I've been and seen a couple of shows where they talk about is how you wear, what you wear, and what your persona is. Sometimes you're a magnet for sometimes the wrong type of guy.
You attract what
So we'll see how well she does. I mean, we saw some previews. It sounded like she wasn't doing bad.
Yeah,
she
also seemed like she's at the center of a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
All right, and then there's Winter. Winter was married for 2.5 years.
Yes, with a Y.
Yes, Winter with a Y. With a Y. Right? We gotta have our unique spelling of things, right? But here's the thing about her. She had, after her honeymoon, 3 weeks after her honeymoon. Now, okay, so she's a born-again believer.
Yes.
She says that they did it right.
Everything right.
They didn't
have sex before they got married.
Yep.
Got married, and then 3 weeks later, her husband slept with the coworker. So, or she found out they slept with the coworker.
I don't know.
Now, again, as a pastor, you're like, okay, we start thinking we think a lot. We're contemplating. We're contemplators. So it's like, were you the only one not having sex during the relationship?
Right.
Because someone who wasn't having sex couldn't wait to marry you. Then 3 weeks later,
all of a sudden he decided to sleep with his coworker. We're thinking he might have been sleeping with that coworker prior. That coworker might have been getting him through the engagement.
Right. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, because some of these stories is like, man, I need the full story.
Right.
Because I don't know. Right. It's interesting.
Real quick, again, hit that subscribe button. Let us know who you think is, if you've watched the show, let us know who stands out to you as folks that you think will, may hook up, maybe kind of the couples that start off and then end. So put that in the comments. Let us know. We definitely want to respond to that. All right. Next, we got David. Now, I like David.
Yeah.
David is a country boy. Now, you're in Houston.
Is a country boy.
But of all the people that they have on, David has the most noticeable Southern twang.
David showed a picture of him on a horse.
He
didn't drinking a latte or something. He had coffee.
David might be a candidate for blackfarmersonly.com, right? But David, I like David. David seems very genuine.
He does.
Seems very authentic.
And he seemed like he's open. He was hurt in the past, which is good. Not good in the sense that he was hurt.
Right.
But now we see how on the man's side, when someone cheats on him, how he felt about it. You can kind of tell in his voice it kind of really hurt that he hasn't opened up again. Right. And so for him to be on this show saying he's ready for love, I think we're going to see David at the end too. I'm predicting David at the end.
But on the flip side, I wonder how David will be compared to all of the other ones, because David seems a little more low key. You
don't think he's going to stand out?
He may not stand out, or he may not be such a showman, if you will.
Oh, more assertive?
And catch the attention of, because again, it's 10 men, 10 women.
Right.
So David may not stand out.
Right.
From all the ones that are, showing their, their who they are and everything.
Right.
He may not, but I'm rooting for David. I think David would be a good one. Right.
I can see how you can see that. I think, again, if the women are open now, the other 2 seasons, the women are very assertive of finding and connecting to one
and locking somebody down
and trying to lock someone down real quick.
Clink, clink.
I hope that in the resort, that since they know they're all going to be staying there, that they stay open, that this is a process of elimination.
Yes.
So if you're really ready to find love, if someone's not there, you be like, you know what, this ain't working for me. But at the same time, be open to talk to as many guys as you can.
Right. So, all right, and then we got Jay, who's in real estate. He was he's actually divorced too. There's a lot of divorced
divorced men with kids.
Yes.
And with Jay, I couldn't stop being focused on his thin mustache. I just, that wasn't working for me well as a woman he looked like I don't know, he had like this Ty Diggs, this dig kind of look going on. So we'll see how well he does. From the previews, it looks like he sticks around for a little while, so he might have. Yeah, and he's a hard worker. You know, you can tell that he's dedicated to his job, and maybe that's what caused a little bit demise in his marriage. He mentioned that he's focused more on his business and then kind of reset into the family, and so he kind of learned that. So shouts out to him. Now, Simone, there's some women in here on this show that. In fact, I want you all to tell us who you think was just like extra on the show. Who you think was just like the extra person that just was over the top. But this is a casting. We're going to get to somebody who was over the top. I just thought was just like, okay, dude. Really? Okay. But Simone's a lawyer. Yes. And she considers herself aggressive. I didn't get an aggressive feel from her. No, she didn't consider herself aggressive. She says people consider her aggressive. William Packer stated specifically that he says she was aggressive. I think she's assertive. So. I think she's assertive. I think she understands, what she wants and who she is, so I think she wants to find love. She's done a lot of work because she talks about her daddy issues. Yes. But she asked her father to go to counseling with him. And that's huge. I think that's major. That's a huge thing that's when you recognize how your previous relationships are impacting, and really what's one of the most important relationships a young woman has, which is the relationship with her dad, just like a relationship for a young man is the relationship with his mother. Recognizing that there's a problem there, and asking your dad to go to counseling, and resetting that relationship, so that you can move forward and to have a good relationship. So shouts out to Simone for that. Yeah, I would put her as a very good candidate, lasting to the end. Although she comes off as very superficial, and some of the things she said was she's very looks oriented. She's in outside package, and so that's that. And so it's maybe because she's dealt with the daddy issues. Maybe she'll get beyond just the looks orientation and really get to the heart of who people are. Well, again, you're not going to have a problem here. It's not like there's some ugly men in the mix. Very true. There's some, I think there's some very diverse men where you couldn't go wrong in picking any of them saying they're ugly unless she has a certain type. Right. So. Right. And then you got Sam. Now, Sam is a visual artist, was engaged, had a daughter. Yes, has a daughter. Has a daughter. Right. Not had, but has a daughter. Right. Then broke it off with the mother of his daughter. It didn't work out. Cool. Right. Starts dating around again. First week back in dating. First week back. So he was engaged to let's say person A. The person A that he had a daughter with. It didn't work out. He decided to give himself some time. Right. And then the first week he started dating, he's like, man, I'm really interested in this person. Oops. She get pregnant. So now he's sharing how it is to, in this moment, how it is to you trying to get to know someone and you're having a baby with them. And then turns out that relationship came to the point where he wasn't present for his son
Right.
birth. Again, I think Ready to Love does a great job of showing how even for black men, being there for the birth of their child, how that meant so much to him.
Yeah.
And that when he couldn't share in that moment, I think that was a very vulnerable point.
Yeah.
But I love seeing it because, again, I look at this culturally too, like for black men and not being there and sharing that with us, that he's vulnerable to say, you know what, I'm ready to love now and get past some of those hurts I had to experience and find it.
So if I'm going to say that probably one of the first people I think may be gone from this, it's Sam.
It's always the artistic.
It is. If you look at the past seasons, it's the guys who are. Yeah. So I don't know that Sam's going to be around for a while.
Because they do cut the first.
Right. The first night.
First night.
They cut.
You cut now, but I do. It's the guy that's very into earthy, artsy. He tends not to make it. So I'm hopeful
because he seems more laid back.
He is laid back.
And so David's a laid back that he's just kind of the country guy. He's just kind of laid back. This guy's kind of laid back to the point of it's almost like he's closed off until that's just kind of my pickup from him.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, I guess again, it depends on the women because again, I'm intrigued by those type of men because I just like to listen to how they think and talk and how they express themselves. And he's a visual artist, so he puts a lot of different dimension in his art.
Right.
So that's the kind of guys you want to intrigue you. But a lot of times women kind of like...
Especially when there's a lot of other folks around.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right. All right, and then you got Denise. Now, Denise is a track and field coach. She went to Grambling. Shout out to the HBCUs, right?
Yes.
But she talked about how she had a past abusive relationship, and because of that, it hasn't allowed her to open up.
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense.
So there's definitely, I think, a healing process.
Yeah.
So my hope for her is that she's allowed herself to heal,
right,
and given full and ample time to heal, but also learn from what allowed her to move into those relationships. So that now she can really identify and move forward.
Well, and I think so because it sounds like she found a self-awareness quick enough that she was able to get out a lot sooner than most women do in those type of relationships. Yeah. So even though it caught her off guard, she saw the red flags to move past it.
Right.
So I feel like she's a strong enough person. She catches on quickly. Yes. And so we'll see how well she does. We see that she kind of gets in it a little bit in the previews.
Denise looked like she a little fighter too. She looked like she can hold her own.
She can hold her own. She's a dark-skinned young woman that's beautiful. Yeah. But we see that some of that colorism is going to start to maybe come out in this season.
And that's something that I think we see in we've seen before in some of the other seasons. And it's something that really, in all honesty, let's just be honest, we deal with it too often in the black community. This dark versus light thing. Yeah. When look, Massa was in your slave quarters, your ancestors' slave quarters too. So it don't matter.
Hey.
Right? All right, and then you got Chris. Now, Chris is my guy who I'm saying is over the top. Chris was the pink suit, no shirt wearing dude.
He's the radio host.
He's the radio show host, what have you, entertainer.
He's the entertainer. Well, you know, I think, well, it looked well on his skin, but he had no shirt for me. It was because he had no shirt under his suit. But again, right, he's a radio host. You know, he knows how to put on the deep, smooth voice for the women. But I think when you have to be a persona over the radio, you may sometimes lose who you are as the person.
Right. When do you turn off?
Right. And he even expressed how he wants someone to get to know him. But you got to show that side of you for someone to get to know you.
Right. So let me ask you this. Not before you and I, some brother came up to you, pink suit, no shirt.
I don't get into that. I mean, I'm not, you know, it's great to have a great physique. I'm glad you have the self-confidence. But when you have no shirt under your, I just don't, the flaunting of the abs and stuff, I'm not big into the flaunting of it.
And it's also, I think it's also the situation.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think
I get it when you're out on the beach. Like I wouldn't expect you to have a shirt on.
But if you're coming to a meet and greet with other folks that are looking ready to love,
right? I feel like you put yourself on the meat market,
right?
So then you put out your outside artificial self. I mean, his abs might not be artificial, superficial self,
right?
And that takes longer to get to know who you are on the inside.
Right.
So again, this is about branding and how you're going to present yourself when you're talking about I'm dating,
right?
And what you want to show. Because if you really want the inside for you to show, if I was dressing you, I said, if you want the inside to show, then we need to cover this.
Right.
We don't want to see this right now.
Right. Let that be the surprise.
Let that be Let that be the special gift. Right. So yeah.
Then you got Danny. Now, Danny, I'm rooting for Danny. Danny was the one who was married.
Yes.
She's divorced.
One in and an eye.
Huh?
That's how I remember it. One in and an eye.
Yes.
Danny.
But she
married early.
Mm-hmm. Had a daughter early. Got divorced.
Yeah.
Decided that she really wasn't going to date to focus on her daughter.
Yeah.
And focus on raising her and being concerned about who she brings into her daughter's life. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
Just from the aspect of you can't have your children around everybody.
Right.
And she recognized before I bring anybody around, I need to make sure I need to secure my daughter first and make sure she's good. And now that her daughter looks like she's a little more grown, what have you.
Yeah.
She's out now seeing.
And you know what? You have to look at that with two perspectives. One perspective is like, yeah, oh, that's so awesome as a parent, as a mom, singly. But was it also a good security blanket? To say I won't be hurt again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna focus on my kid, and I'm not gonna worry about love.
Yeah.
Because you need to be loved, even in the times of trying to raise children. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I get the premise of wanting that for a child, but you lose yourself because once your child leaves, who do you have?
Yes.
And I think that's why her daughter asked her to come on the show. Yes. See, so here again, sometimes our children can be a little bit wiser than us and say, Mom, you're going to need someone because we're too close and I'm moving on.
Right.
And you can't move into my house when I go to college. You know, you can't move into my
dorm room. Our relationship's about to change.
You need someone. Right. So great for the daughter
to
recognize that.
Yes.
So.
Yes. All right. Then you got Edwin, who is an Iraq veteran, chef.
Veteran.
Now, something he said, and I like this. He said his approach to relationships is, what can I give to you?
Yes.
What can I add to you?
Now that's attractive to me. I was like, okay, I can get a crush on you because.
Wow. But no.
But I mean, because that's a great mindset to have.
Yes.
Because he's like, okay. Yeah, I want someone in my life for me, but my whole goal and purpose is that while we're in this relationship, I want to support you in what you're doing.
Right.
I want to do, that's why I'm attracted to you because, supportive spouse, someone who wants to be there for you. Even though he has a great career as a personal chef, he's like, I know I can give something to someone else as they're moving on in their life. So I'm hoping to see more of him. He has the right balance.
Yes.
I think being able to show himself and to really present himself so the women are very interested.
Right.
But he's not over the top either. Right. So I think he'll be a leader.
He in a pink suit, no shirt wearing dude.
I think he's balanced. Yeah. That he's going to show a little bit more depth.
Right.
And he's going to receive that from the women.
Yes. And then you got Shay, who had her daughter as a teen.
Yeah, so as a teen mom.
So she's also another one who had a child early.
Yep. But worked through
it, what have you, right?
Yep. Went to college. Yep. Her daughter's a graduate of college. So
has a business.
Has a business. Yeah, so great.
Now, one thing she said, where some of these folks have been more geared towards what a person looks like, the outside package. She makes a statement. I actually find it kind of interesting. She said, "My ugly man is better than your fine man."
Right. Yes. And so again, I feel like Shay's going to be the person that's going to be open to all 10 guys.
Right.
She's going to find something in there. But to me, what is your deal breaker?
Yes.
So she's going to have a set deal breaker in her because she's going to find something in every guy like, ooh, you're attractive. Like a box of chocolates. Mm-hmm. She can't bite into everything and take some home.
Well, in a love bubble, you can at least bite in there.
Well, you can bite into it, but if you want something consistently as a part of your diet, you're going to have to end up with one.
Right.
So I think for her, she's going to have to focus on her deal breaker. Mm-hmm. And make a decision of like, okay, what's my deal breakers?
Right.
And that will help her decide on who she should end up.
Absolutely. Then you got Naya, who, what stuck out for me, she wants to give birth. She's the one, so she's had 4 miscarriages.
Yes.
So definitely. Salon owner. Wants to be married, wants to have kids.
She wants to stay home.
Yeah. She said that she dreamed about when she was a kid. She wants to be the stay-at-home mom, the wife, just kind of have things ready when people get home, stuff like that. So, but she's had 4 miscarriages.
Yeah.
So those are definitely devastating.
Those are devastating things, but yet still looking for love.
Right.
But she's like, it doesn't have to be in that order.
Right.
So for her, it's more like, how does she focus on not worried at this time about having the children? Because to me, what I'm hearing, I have a time clock.
Right.
I need a man. I have a time clock, you know. And I get it. The window's closing, especially if you have miscarriages and you're older, because she's 42, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
In her 40s. So I understand. But, also it's also looking back at something different,
But the question I have then is there were obviously at least 4 times. Now, don't know if they were all with the same person or different guys.
But she was trying on her own.
Yeah. Or, so then there would be a question of, even though maybe the pregnancy didn't work, why didn't the relationships work?
Right.
So I think that's something that maybe to kind of watch for and look for and see.
That's a little mysterious. I don't know how long she's going to last.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about giving birth and not being able to give birth, for women, it messes with everything in your psyche.
And I think for men, I think that if I'm meeting you and I get this sense that you're ready to hurry up and have a baby, then that can unless I'm in the same boat where I'm like, look, I've got to get this done too, then that may be a little pushback for me, because I may be like, look, I want to get to know you first.
Right.
Because I'm looking for love, right?
Right.
I want to get to know you first, and then once I know you, then we can build a life and build a legacy with kids together. Yeah. So that's something I think that may not work in Naya's favor. Just my thoughts.
Right.
And it depends on how she positions it, right?
Oh yeah. I guess as we see the season go on, how she's able to, transition. And again, if you find love there, what's the odds of you being able to still be able to have a child too? So, but there's other ways to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, now Raymond.
Raymond's our last one, right?
No, we got 2 more after Raymond.
Okay.
You want me to come back to Raymond?
Let's leave Raymond for last.
We'll come back to Raymond.
Okay.
All right. Again, if this is good for you, listen, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications. We are going to be doing this every week of the show. We actually are also, you can look up in the corner here, we're also going to have a link to another show that we're watching called Put a Ring on It. So you can definitely watch that, as well as we do a recap and review of those as well. All right. But let's talk about Alex. Alex, her longest relationship was 3 years.
Okay.
But she said her fiance cheated a month after the engagement.
Oh, yes. I remember this one. Yeah.
So, and she's again another one that is like her. She loves God, but she's like, my libido is up there too, right? If I remember correctly.
No,
was that not her?
No, she wasn't.
She just talks a lot. That was the thing.
Yeah, she's a communicator, so she's going to be able to to talk and be open, I think, to most of the men there. I think she just have a little bit of trust issues based off of that. Yeah. But I think she's ready to find love. She seems like, I think she's in her early 30s. Yeah. If I remember correctly. So I think that there's some opportunity for her there too. Yeah.
Then you got Anthony. Anthony is the former arena football player.
Yes.
Who, he says he wins because guys don't dance.
Right. Yeah. He has a lot of energy.
Lots.
And he was very honest that he didn't want to be in a long-term or a very deep relationship because he was sowing some oats, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he gave that persona of a athlete, right?
Yes.
A football player, right?
Yes.
He wanted to have a good time. Taking his career overseas, you know, that's for some that is a very competitor to say, until this is all out of me,
right,
I'm gonna ball.
Right.
Wherever I am, I'm gonna ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so great for him that he has life experiences outside of the U.S.
Yes.
So I think he's gonna be a great showman.
Yeah.
But I wonder how deep he's willing to get right now.
Right.
He says he's ready for love.
Right.
But he's dancing too. He's trying to dance into hearts and minds of women all over Houston.
So yeah.
So we'll
Anthony,
see.
yeah, he'll ball of energy.
He'll ball energy.
All right, now.
Raymond.
Now Raymond is the oldest of the group.
He's the oldest of the group, but man, he looks great. You know, he's that type of person that like never ages. Kind of. He has a youthful spirit that comes out in his skin.
If you didn't know he was 52, you'd be like, oh, he's probably in his 30s.
I would say late 30s, early 40s, you know.
But, you know, now here's the thing with Raymond. Raymond got 5 kids.
5 kids by different women. We don't know how many.
We don't know how many, but we know there's at least 2 or 3 women.
At least 2, 3 women. And one of them was, I would say that he was in an abusive relationship. He was the recipient.
Right.
You know, when anyone put hands on you,
grab a man by the throat,
that's an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And he recognized that, and so he's no longer with that woman.
Right.
So great for him because he didn't say he struck back, but he stepped away from that.
Right.
But when he's sensing like, yeah, you know, I'm a musician, which he talked of being with some well-named R&B singer.
Played for Tank. I forgot who else. He played for a few different folks.
That we all know and love. So I get being a musician, but there's some things even as a man, period, you need to know that keep you from having kids and baby mamas. So we were talking about, well, like, I don't, as a woman, would I take on 5 teenagers? Because most of them look like teens now or early. And it's like, I told you, I said, that's not the problem. The problem is the baby mamas and how much is child support.
Child support, yeah.
I was like, he's a musician. I said, right now in COVID, ain't people making a lot of money.
Not a whole lot of touring going on.
For musicians.
Right.
So are we going to have an income together, you know, right away? Because if you're talking ready for love for a long-term relationship, you want to be with someone who can support themselves.
Exactly.
And at some point, if you're going to get married, if that's the end result, that he can support you.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm a little concerned about Raymond. I think that he will probably go far for a while. I think the sticking point for a lot of folks is going to be the kids. Or that dynamic.
Yes. Because I don't want to say the kids. Because it's normally not the kids.
It's how everything goes on regarding
the
child support, baby mothers.
Yeah.
How recent were the relationships with the kids? All of those things.
All the
not
kids
necessarily
look
him,
older.
right? Not necessarily him.
Right.
But just in general, we're talking about people that come into relationships with kids.
Right.
There's a lot of different dynamics, and I think a few of them. So this is going to be an interesting season.
And also real quick, because there's more single women without kids in this episode. There's more men that have kids.
That's true.
And there's only a few, maybe 2 or 3 women that have kids.
Right.
So we're looking at a lot of women who have choices where they don't have to pick Raymond.
Right. True.
If I had to go from 1 kid to or 2 to 5, I might want to stay on this scale because of I have less women drama, baby mama drama to deal with, to be honest.
Right. So this season's going to be interesting because again, it's the love bubble. We're going to call it the love bubble. I might have to trademark that. The love bubble,
love bubble.
But because if you watch the sneak clip, what's interesting is that you have this whole dynamic, whereas, like we mentioned before, you could go home, you still have your business, your job, what have you. But now we've seen in the clip where it looks like I could take someone on a date.
And then you could be knocking on somebody's door later on.
And the person you were on the date with comes out to get ice and see you slipping into somebody else's
right.
store.
So yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of drama, a lot of stuff going on, but we're excited for it because again, our whole thing is we love love, right?
Yeah, I think we love love, and we love people finding love.
Right.
I think I love the opportunity that I can see mature Black people being on TV who are finding love, and they're portraying themselves that there's a variety to us,
right?
And it's not the stereotype, right? Absolutely. So excited,
yes,
great, can't wait for the season.
Absolutely.
So I know everyone's going to subscribe to us.
Subscribe, hit those notifications, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.